Hey, welcome to join us at itpin Bobapedia.
Hey everyone, so glad to be back.
And I am especially pumped for today's deep dive.
Yeah.
I definitely came prepared. Got my drink right here, perfectly on topic. It's a classic black sugar milk tea. But wait for it.
Ooh, what's the twist?
I added red beans today.
Red beans. Wow. Okay, how is that?
It's surprisingly good, really comforting, kind of substantial. It feels like a whole different drink.
Huh. A full experience in a cup, for sure. That sounds like a great choice for talking textures. I went, a bit different.
What'd you get?
I've got a Four Seasons spring tea, unsweetened, but I loaded it up with agar and tea jelly.
Oh, nice. Going for the lighter chew.
Exactly. I wanted something like refreshing, but still with that satisfying textural element we're going to talk about.
Perfect. You totally nailed it. That's the absolute core of what we're exploring today. We are diving deep into what our sources repeatedly call the very soul of bubble tea.
It's got to be the toppings, right? All those amazing things you can mix in.
Exactly. The toppings. We've got quite the stack of sources here.
Yeah.
Articles, surveys, trend reports, even some history bits. All about those amazing, sometimes kind of weird, always texture-adding bits that take a simple tea and turn it into
bubble tea.
Yeah.
It's not just about the tea itself, is it? It's what you're chewing on.
Totally. So our mission today, and this is really for you, the listener, whether you're just a huge bubble tea fan like us, or maybe you even own a shop, is to really unpack this incredible world of toppings.
We're going to get into the textures, the tastes, why they're so important culturally. Basically, why they're the heart of the whole thing.
And we found some, honestly, pretty fascinating stuff in the sources, including actual rankings. Based on what people are talking about online, what's super popular right now.
Yeah, we'll break down what makes each of these top toppings special, how they taste, what drinks they go best with, and not just milk tea. Fruit teas, smoothies, you name it.
Get ready, because your next boba order might get seriously upgraded after this. Okay, so let's start right there. This whole idea that toppings are the soul, that's a pretty big claim. Why do the sources emphasize that so much?
It really jumps out, doesn't it? It's like a theme everywhere we looked. One source basically says, look, you can't order bubble tea without a topping and still really call it bubble tea.
Right. Otherwise, it's just tea. Maybe flavored tea.
Exactly. The definition itself seems to hinge on having something extra, something with texture.
It's the defining thing.
Absolutely. They add that crucial textural element, that other dimension that just completely changes how you experience the drink. And it's not just texture, it's also, well, fun.
It's not passive sipping.
No. You're actively involved, working the straw, getting the toppings, chewing. It's interactive. It uses more of your senses.
And that active chewing brings us straight to this word. You absolutely cannot talk about bubble tea, especially the chewy stuff, without knowing this term. It's huge in Taiwan's food culture. QQ.
Yeah.
Yes, you hear it all the time. But what exactly does QQ mean?
QQ is just. It's the perfect word for it. It comes from Taiwan, and it describes food that has this amazing chewy and elastic quality. Think like something that pushes back a little when you bite it, but then it kind of springs back.
Okay, so it's not just tough chewiness.
Yeah.
And it's not just soft or mushy. It's that perfect middle ground.
Precisely. It yields, but it's bouncy. The sources even mention it might come from a Hokkien word, Q, which kind of shows how deep this preference runs in the culture, It's baked into the language.
That's so cool. It's not just some modern trend. It's a real culinary value. And the sources drive this home. They compare how much Taiwanese food culture values QQ texture to how Italians value al dente for pasta.
It's such a great analogy. Just like you want that slight resistance, that perfect bite in pasta, bubble tea makers are aiming for the ideal QQ in their pearls or jellies. It's like a quality standard, proof it was made right.
So getting that QQ texture right, especially for the classic pearls, isn't just nice to have. It actually shapes how people judge the whole drink's quality and how much they enjoy it.
Totally. If the pearls are wrong, too hard, too soft, all sticky, falling apart if they're not QQ, it can honestly ruin the whole thing for someone who knows what they're looking for.
Yeah, I've had bad pearls. It's disappointing.
Right. That perfect QQ texture is just massively important for satisfaction. It makes drinking it fun, engaging.
It's that whole experience, feeling it come up the straw, the bite, the chew. And like the sources point out, the best QQ often has that little bit of complexity too, right? Like maybe a softer outside from cooking and soaking in syrup.
So still a slightly firmer, chewier center,
Yeah.
that dynamic feel in your mouth.
It's amazing how much nuance there can be in just a little tapioca ball.
Exactly. That's why QQ is such a big deal. It's not just simple chewiness.
Okay, so given how important this whole chewy thing is, this chewing-focused element, it makes total sense that people online are constantly discussing and ranking their favorite toppings. Our sources pull together a list like that, showing the current champs in the chewy bubble tea world.
All right, let's get into it. The rankings. Kicking things off at number 1. Any surprises here?
Absolutely none. Taking the top spot, the undisputed king, the classic, the icon, it's a king. Pearls, boba, tapioca balls.
The forever god of toppings, as the sources call it.
Exactly. You just can't argue with it. It's the original, the standard. Everything else is kind of measured against it.
Totally unchallenged. And for good reason. Where do they even come from again?
They start with the cassava root. It's the starch from that root. Tapioca starch, that's the main ingredient.
And making them. It sounds simple, but getting that QQ right is tricky. You mix the starch with water, make a dough,
Roll it out, cut it into little balls.
then cook them carefully until they're translucent and chewy. Timing is everything.
Yeah, mess that up and you get like little rocks or just mush.
Exactly. Then, usually they get an ice bath right away. That stops the cooking, keeps them from sticking.
And help set that texture right. That's slightly firmer inside.
Right. And the final crucial step for flavor and texture, soaking them. Usually in brown sugar syrup, sometimes honey.
That's what gives them the sweetness and keeps them soft and bouncy.
And the sources helped clear up the names too. Sometimes it's confusing.
Yeah. So zenzu, or pearls, are usually the smaller ones.
While boba normally means the bigger ones.
And fonyuan is just a general term for any size tapioca ball.
Good to know. So boba might mean big, pearls, small, depending where you are. But it's all tapioca, all aiming for that QQ.
Let's really dig into that texture, though, because that's the star. It's sweet, sure, but it's that feel. Soft, kind of fluffy even, but incredibly chewy, elastic, bouncy. It is QQ.
Totally. The sources really talk about that satisfying feel, how the firm little ball contrasts with the smooth drink, and that dual texture you mentioned.
Yeah, the slightly softer outside, the chewier middle.
It's like a little adventure for your mouth, like tiny, drinkable gummy bears. It just adds playfulness.
And taste-wise, they're pretty subtle on their own, right?
Yeah, very mild. They mostly pick up the sweetness from that syrup soak.
Which is actually a huge advantage. They don't fight with the drink's flavor, they just kind of carry it, especially the syrup flavor. That's why black sugar or honey soaking is so huge.
It infuses them with deliciousness. And pairings. Well, the classic is classic for a reason.
Milk tea. It's the absolute iconic duo. You think bubble tea, that's the image.
The sources spotlight ojong, black sugar bubble tea, as like the ultimate example. So popular.
But they're surprisingly versatile. Because they're so neutral, they actually work great in fruit teas and smoothies too. They add the chew without messing up the fruit flavors.
Yeah, true. Their popularity is definitely about that unique chewy feel and how they just work with everything. It's the default, the comfort topping. For so many people, pearls are bubble tea.
All right, moving on from the absolute classic. Number 2 in the chewy rankings brings a totally different vibe. Various fruits.
Yes, fresh fruit. Which makes total sense, especially when it's hot out. They're just so refreshing. Kind of like my aloe today, even though that's technically separate, it has that juicy vibe.
And the texture is completely different from pearls. You get juicy bits, sometimes little bursts of flavor, maybe crunchiness if it's apple chunks, or that soft pulp from passion fruit.
Yeah, chunks, slices, puree. They can even be layered on top, like on cheese foam.
And the list is endless. Mango, strawberry, passion fruit, orange, pineapple, blueberries. So many options. And yeah, aloe fits in here sometimes with that juicy, slightly crunchy feel.
Naturally, they're amazing with fruit teas, or any non-milk tea, really. They add natural sweetness, complexity. It tastes so much more vibrant than just syrup sometimes.
The sources mentioned some really cool examples, like Coco Sen's Yangji Gunlu. It's based on a Hong Kong dessert, right?
Yeah, it's like a whole party in a cup. Mango cubes, mango puree, sago for chewiness, grapefruit for a little bitterness, coconut milk.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Sweet, sour, chewy, a total dessert in a cup. They even mentioned a yogurt version for something lighter.
Right. Their popularity is all about that natural sweetness, the bright flavors, and just feeling fresh, Maybe even a little healthy. It's like a snack and a drink, but feels naturally good.
Okay, number 3. This one has a really unique flavor and a very different texture again. Taro or taro paste.
Taro. This one has such a loyal following. That sweet, kind of earthy smell. It's very distinctive.
Yeah, you either love taro or maybe you just haven't had the good stuff yet.
Totally. And the texture is way different from bouncy pearls. It adds this dense, smooth, almost thick element.
Especially the paste, the heart, you get those little grainy bits sometimes.
Yes. Adds another little textural surprise. It makes the whole drink feel really creamy, really substantial.
Like much more filling, almost like a light meal or a proper dessert.
Which is why it's almost always paired with milk drinks, right? That creaminess just works perfectly together. Rich, satisfying.
Milksha's signature taro milk got a big shout out in the sources. They use handmade, steamed, and mashed taro. That sounds amazing.
You can just imagine that thick purple swirl mixing into the milk. Yum. Its popularity is definitely that unique flavor, the creamy texture, and how it makes the drink feel like a real treat, something substantial. It's less a topping and more like a creamy element blended in.
All right, number 4 takes us into interesting territory. Bubble tea, borrowing from Japanese desserts. Dango or daifuku.
Ooh, this is where the innovation gets really cool. Bringing in mochi-like textures, the sources describe it as chewy.
Q-lastic, yeah, but also soft and glutinous. So a different chew from tapioca.
Exactly. Softer, less bouncy, more yielding, and maybe a little sticky, they said. Sweet, but not heavy or greasy.
It's a more delicate chew. And they mentioned plain ones are common, but even grilled dangos are showing up with a smoky flavor.
Yeah. How cool is that? They recommend pairing them with black or red teas. And cocoa strawberry steamed daifuku, Hita got mentioned.
Combining that glutinous rice feel, oka, with fruit and milk.
Come
Sounds super smooth.
Wow.
And layered.
Another drinkable dessert. Its popularity seems to come from offering something really distinct. It's not just another chewy ball. It's elegant, different, a sophisticated twist.
Okay, number 5 brings us back to jellies. But this one's all about the tea itself. Tea jelly.
Tea jelly. Yeah, this one's definitely popular, and the sources suggested maybe because people are looking for, like, healthier feeling options sometimes.
But it still delivers that chew. Q-elastic. Satisfyingly chewy, but without the tapioca starch.
And the flavor is key. It actually tastes like tea. Fresh, aromatic, sometimes even a little balancing bitterness, which is interesting.
And they often have their own sweetness, right? So they work even in unsweetened drinks.
That's a great point. You get texture and a hint of flavor without adding extra sugar. Sources mention green tea jelly, coffee jelly, roasted oolong, like deserves edge with that deep roasted smell.
Even genmai wheat matcha jelly. Wow. Usually in cubes or strips.
And yeah, being tea-based, they obviously pair great with tea drinks. Especially good in unsweetened teas, like you said, adding just enough flavor and texture.
So they appeal to people wanting something lighter, maybe lower calorie, but still chewy. And if you love tea, it just doubles down on that tea flavor. Win-win. Number 6. Now we're bringing in some classic Asian dessert ingredients. Witoria, red bean, and green bean.
Beans. Yeah, might sound strange if you're not used to it, but these are huge in desserts across Asia. Makes sense they'd end up in bubble tea.
And the texture is, again, totally different. Not bouncy, not jelly-like.
Yeah.
More soft, grainy.
Yeah, soft and grainy, a different kind of satisfying feel. And they bring their own distinct sweet flavor that adds depth, kind of comforting and rich.
Definitely nostalgic for a lot of people.
Totally. They're usually paired with milk drinks where that softness and sweetness just blends right in. The sources mentioned to allude purple rice, red bean milk as a popular, really filling example.
Filling is a key word here, right?
Yeah.
The sources said that's a big reason people like them. They make the drink way more substantial.
Yeah, like a quick snack for busy people. Grab-and-go sustenance.
Plus that comfort food vibe, the nostalgia, and hey, maybe a tiny bit of nutritional value too. Protein, fiber, it's something. Sliding into number 7, this one seems really popular with the health-conscious crowd.
Agar.
Agar jelly.
Yep. This is the go-to if you want chewiness but are watching calories. It comes from seaweed.
Plant-based, high fiber. And the sources use that term low burden.
Right. Meaning low calorie, high fiber helps you feel full. So satisfying without feeling heavy. Texture-wise, it's Q-elastic, chewy like other jellies, often comes in little strips or columns.
And the taste. Pretty neutral.
Generally, yeah. Maybe a tiny bit sweet, but mostly it doesn't change the drink's flavor much.
Which makes it super versatile.
Yep.
Good in lots of drinks. Green tea was mentioned. A good swap for pearls. If you want less sugar, maybe in an unsweetened tea.
Exactly. Its popularity is all about those health angles, low-cal, high-fiber, satiety. It's the guilt-free chew, basically.
Okay, number 8. This is such a cool idea, taking a super traditional Taiwanese dessert and putting it in the drink. Yaya, duwa, or tofu pudding.
Isn't that brilliant? Duwa is amazing on its own. This just makes it portable.
And the texture is everything. Smooth and tender?
Oh, it is. So soft, almost melts in your mouth, but still holds its shape enough to give you this creamy texture within the drink.
And the taste, that lovely soy aroma, sweet, creamy, pure comfort food.
Total nostalgia hit for anyone who grew up with it. The sources mention Wanpo, Zenzuden doing dua drinks, and especially Daming using Inya, Zongwa Dua.
Oh, wow. That's the classic childhood brand of packaged tofu pudding in Taiwan, right?
Exactly. Talk about tapping into nostalgia. People love it because it's convenient. Enjoy dua on the go. It perfectly blends traditional comfort with the modern bubble tea trend.
Number 9 is one that the sources said is really hot right now, super trendy. Fengui.
Fengi. Yes, this one's definitely been buzzing lately. It's got a unique texture described as
Soft and glutinous. And maybe a little sticky, different from other jellies.
yeah, distinct from grass jelly or tea jelly. It's got its own specific QQ feel.
Yeah.
Kind of chewy but soft.
And a subtle sweet taste on its own.
Its popularity surge seems really tied to certain brands making it famous, like Yimari, Kimu. They had those hit drinks.
Right. Sengui osmanthus lemon, Fengui osmanthus lemon, Fengi brown sugar lemon, and Sengi brown sugar milk tea.
Those combinations just took off. They really highlighted Fengui's unique texture and how well it worked in those drinks. It caught on with people looking for a new kind of chew, a fresh twist.
And finally, wrapping up the top 10 from our sources, a real old school favorite, always popular, always there, coconut jelly or nata de coco.
Coconut jelly feels like it's been a staple forever, right? And still going strong.
Its texture is the key. Curse, elastic and juicy, yeah, but also crisp.
Yes. That crispness is unique. It gives a refreshing bite that other chewy things don't have.
Adds great layers when you mix it with other stuff. And it has its own unique, kind of sweet, refreshing taste.
Pairings are interesting. One source said maybe weird with milk tea, but others highlighted how great it is in non-milk fruit teas.
And the prime example, 50 Land's legendary #1 drink, 4-season spring tea with pearls, boba, and coconut jelly.
Yes. That drink is a texture explosion. Small pearls, big boba, Andy crisp coconut jelly, all in a non-milk tea. It totally shows off how that crispness adds another dimension.
That drink is iconic for a reason. Coconut jelly's popularity is definitely that refreshing feel, the subtle sweetness, that juicy, crisp bite. Great in hot weather.
And one source praised its CP tech. Basically, amazing value for money. You get a lot of texture bang for your buck.
Okay, wow, that's the top 10 chewy list according to the sources. But man, the world of toppings is just huge. It goes way beyond those 10.
Oh, totally. So many other great ones that maybe didn't hit this specific chewy ranking but are super important and add awesome stuff to drinks.
Like popping boba.
Bursting boba.
Yes. The super fun ones, little gel balls with liquid inside.
Made with that cool sciencey process, spherification, flavored liquid, alginate, calcium chloride. Poof, a little edible balloon.
And the texture is wild, not chewy at all, just this thin skin that bursts when you bite it.
Yeah, splash. And out comes this burst of flavor, usually fruit juice, mango, strawberry, lychee.
Yeah.
Way more intense flavor than subtle tapioca.
They're just pure fun. Kids love them, obviously. Great in fruit drinks, yogurt drinks. That surprise burst is the whole point.
It's a completely different appeal than tapioca. Flavor burst versus satisfying chew, both awesome. Then there was crystal boba mentioned too. Right, another jelly-like one, softer than tapioca.
Made from the konjac plant, right? Different from tapioca or agar.
Yeah. Taste is pretty neutral, maybe a little sweet, often clear or translucent, kind of seen as a lighter, pretty alternative to pearls.
And aloe, like in my drink today.
Aloe's great. Sources mention benefits like vitamin C, antioxidants.
But texture-wise, it's that unique, crunchy, fresh, juicy bite. Really clean tasting.
Perfect pairing for fruity floral teas. Makes total sense.
Okay, and then moving up top. Ayla, milk cap, or cheese cream.
Oh yeah, the foam layer. Totally different category, adds richness and complexity right on top.
Usually thick, creamy foam, cream cheese, often a little salt.
That salt is key. It balances the sweetness of the tea underneath. You get that amazing sweet and savory thing going on.
Yeah, you sip it through the foam, mixing with the tea, works on milk teas, fruit teas. Sources said it's especially great with black tea. Adds a whole new flavor and texture layer. Oats also popped up.
Yep, oats. Usually linked to healthier options. Different kind of chew, maybe a bit nutty.
Seen as a diet-friendly alternative, adds fiber and substance if you want something less caloric than pearls, but still, something there.
And Ajua Longan got a mention for warm drinks, like with red date or ginger tea. Sounds cozy for cold weather.
And really quick, black rice and sago were noted too, in specific drinks, like a fitness one with black rice, or sago in that classic Yangji Ganlu.
Just shows even more textures out there. Chewy, grainy, pudding-like. The variety is insane.
Wow. Okay, just thinking about all of that, pearls, fruit, taro, dango, dua, fengi, coconut jelly, popping boba, agar, tea jelly, milk cap. I mean, the list just keeps going. It really drives home how many choices you have when you walk up to that counter.
It's unbelievable. And that's the beauty of it, right? That customization. You can literally design your perfect drink based on your mood, what you're craving, even the weather.
And you don't have to just stick to the usual combos. Like the sources hinted, there's so much room to play around.
Totally. Want something super refreshing? Try popping boba or aloe in a fruit tea. Need something rich and filling? Go for taro or beans or dango in a milk tea.
And things like tea jelly or agar or even that milk cap seem like they could work with almost anything, just adding that extra texture or flavor layer without taking over.
It really circles back to how these toppings change everything. It's not just about taste. It's texture, temperature, the fun of chewing, a whole sensory experience.
Yeah, it proves that point we started with. Bubble tea, with all these options, it really is often a snack and a drink. It hits that thirst spot and you're craving for something chewy or creamy or fun to eat.
Yeah.
So what a journey through the world of bubble tea toppings.
Yeah.
We cover the origins, that all-important QQ texture, the tastes, the pairings, why things are popular, from the absolute classic pearl to the trendy newcomers.
Yeah, it's super clear. Toppings aren't just optional. They're what make bubble tea. And that perfect QQ chew is just central to so much of the enjoyment.
And with this insane variety, there truly is a perfect topping, or probably a combo of toppings, for absolutely everyone, every taste, every mood. The possibilities feel endless.
They really do. Makes me want to go out and try a completely new combo right now.
Exactly. So after hearing about all these amazing possibilities, here's something for you, our listener, to think about. What new topping are you going to be brave enough to try next time? Or what completely wild flavor and texture combo can you invent for your own ultimate bubble tea creation?
Itpin Bobapedia.